Race day. Welcome, race fans, to a showcase of driving perfection. My name's Webbo, and let's get down trackside. Hold on tight, we're gonna go for it. Boom, that's how it's done. Whoa, easy. Surely not all the way around the outside. Oh yeah, we're cooking now. Shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. This is a roller coaster of emotions. The drivers are pushing their machines to the limit and beyond. Ooh, it doesn't get any better than that. Wait for the lights, the revs build and so does the excitement. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go! Okay, driver, it's hammer time. This driver is an artist and the racetrack is their canvas. Did you see that? Did you see that? Wow! Let's watch it again. Ooh, hopefully they'll get away with that one. What a great start, and it looks like we can build on this now and really make a good race of it. There's the fastest lap, folks. No mercy on the menu today. Yeah, sideways is rarely ever faster, but you do get style points. And we roll the safety car dice. Leave them alone. They know what they're doing. Oh no, someone's gone bowling into turn one. What a shocker. Moving left, jinking right, keep them guessing. Your mowing has a side gig. And we go down the inside, Danny Rick style. We're on the edge of our seats here, folks. The racers are pushing their limits, risking it all for that coveted first place position and the all-important win. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The two cars ahead are fighting with each other. It's slowing them down. And through we go! That driver is a complete and total. A word has not been invented to describe how complete and total they are. But they are one, and a complete and total one at that. And it all comes down to this, the final lap. If you smell what this driver is cooking. good a time as any to ask if you've subscribed yet. There's your Grand Slam, pole, fastest lap, and the win! Well, I don't know about you guys, but well, welcome race fans to Deviant Racing's season finale of the GT4 World Challenge. My name is Webbo, here to join you tonight for the racing, and hopefully we're going to have ourselves a good fun time out here at Le Mans for a tremendous place to finish a season, as we see some of the drivers just getting warmed up at the moment. Qualifying has not yet begun. We only have 10 minutes of qualifying, and a big hello to Zen, who joins us in the live chat already. I just want to check out who our current safety car driver is at the moment. We'll just check out Jim as well. Haven't seen his livery for up close just yet. We will do the honours and have a look at some good liveries very soon. But out in the pit lane at the moment, we actually had our safety car driver out on the grid earlier on, just doing some practice out there. Again, another Ferrari livery that we haven't seen much of. This is our Saito. And then we have Mercury in our driver's seat for the safety car. So expect some interesting tactics here from Mercury, who will sometimes embarrass himself, just having fun out there. I wonder if we'll get an early or a late safety car position. And there we have some great action, some drift action. Now we just need to hold it next time, Mercury. But we tried. An attempt was made there for a special start for us. Yeah, we're looking forward to this season finale. We just got done with the GT3 race, so I won't do any spoilers for those of you who have yet to watch it. But an interesting time out there in Le Mans for the drivers. About to have a look at the leaderboard at the moment then for the current situation. We have Rue, who has already secured the championship, of course, by taking 5 consecutive victories. However, the previous race saw the end of that streak, where Arcane finally beat him on track. Qualifying then about to get underway for the drivers. We're in an overcast northern France position here for our drivers to take us out onto qualifying, onto the grid, and sort ourselves out. We'll have an outlap followed by 2 flying laps only for the drivers, and that's all you can get done here. And we did see the best laps in GT3. We saw the best laps in the first part of qualifying, the first flying lap. As Zen says, if history repeats itself, it's going to rain. Which history are we referring to at the moment, Zen? And will it be in qualifying or the race? Hopefully qualifying will remain dry for the drivers, because we don't want to see too much going wrong here for everybody, as we get screens organised for you. So Rue won the championship already on 102 points, but Arcane would love to take that second place with Larry as well into the promotion line, where they go into the playoffs and compete over a place in the GT3 World Challenge next season. Arcane has 76 points in second. In third place is Larry on 62 points. Still definitely on for Larry here, but he could also see some threat from behind from equal positioned fourth place Sully and TX, who are both on 54 points. TX recently demoted and will love to be able to try and compete for a place in the top tier again and for next season. Jim is in P6 on 40 points, 4-0, only 2 ahead of joint 7th position Lalo Kills and Saito, who have 38. Thrasher has 36, Kuroskai 27 in that 10th position. And then we have Tie-Dye on 26 points, Billy Bob on 22, Dr. Sparkle on 21, and Huge Jar on 11. Just a note here that Anatole Maxwell has 22 points with a drop score
No, not with a drop score. That's all of them counting, of course. And he's only raced for us 3 times previously in this season 3.3. So he would find himself joint 12th position with Billy Bob, who has taken part in every round of the season so far. Huge Jar then is just heading into the Mulsanne corner. As I'll talk to you about the Constructors' Championship, the Teams' Championship. Team Spotify, already champions prior to the GT3 race today, had 270, Special K on 170. Mountain Dew have 154 ahead of Brando on 130. We have Puma Porsches, or Puma, level with Zin on 125 prior to the GT3 race today. I must just re-stress, with Team Coca-Cola a long way back on 69 points overall. So that's the championship as things stand. We look forward to seeing the battle for second position, both in the teams and in the overall drivers' standings here today. I've got some great notes from Anatole and particularly from Larry on the liveries today, which we'll talk about in depth in our safety car period. I haven't actually had the safety car period announced yet, so Zen, if you do know it, or you can prod Mercury for that information, I would absolutely love it, because it does help, or it'll just be a surprise for us. The drivers managing a maximum of, mostly managing a maximum of 4-lap stints here in Le Mans. One manufacturer did manage to get a 5-lap stint from a standing start position in the GT3s, but for the most part these GT4s will be aiming to try and get those 4 laps out of a race. As Huge Jar goes over the line, if you do that in your hot lap or in the race, you will pick up a half-second off throttle penalty. And there are so many opportunities for that to happen throughout the course of the laps. Let's get on board then with Huge Jar, who will have a clear track in front of him for this first flying lap in the Ferrari, as we power on out of the final chicane, the Virage du Raccordement, and head towards the Dunlop curves and the chicane at the start of the lap. Very slow, you can just see the Dunlop bridge up ahead, and they'll be dropping all the way down to second gear. Well, yes, there we go. We do hook up second into the second part. You can see actually the hands getting out in the way considerably from the driving position here. Now we're going to go down towards Tertre Rouge. This is Descente de la Chapelle at the moment, but Tertre Rouge looms on the right coming up, which is all important, especially in qualifying. The slingshot out of Tertre Rouge, just timing it perfectly, sticking in 5th gear, not dropping down to 4th, strangely for me anyway, but I haven't driven the GT4s around here, so maybe that is the better way through. And then we'll be trying to hit VMAX down the long Mulsanne straight. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the field coming through. P. Wilds is in that P2 at the moment. Just going to check that one actually, because that's Sully P. Wilds. I think I've got Sully has changed his gamer tag for the race, and he's got a driver just behind him. That's TX rocking the Tennessee Titans livery once again and picking up a good tow on the back of P. Wilds here. Actually going to smoothly pass P. Wilds as he passes the driver, and then we'll get a tuck in there from the Mountain Dew GTR Nismo, driven by Sully. Back with Kuros Kai out there. I'm just checking to see if anyone else is doing a good tow. Maxwell has gone for a black and red Ferrari livery, chosen the Ferrari today. Dr. Sparkle out there as well, with Jim, Larry towards the back, and Al Saito as well. Rue not taking part in this season finale, so he's taken his ball and he's gone home as we head in towards Mulsanne corner. So Rue got it done before, obviously, the final race. No, Rue is here. He's in 5th. What am I talking about? Rue is sitting there in 5th and sitting ready to try and get 6 wins out of 7 races with 1 second place, and near to perfect record here today. So through Mulsanne we went. Now it's passing the golf course, the Coupe de Golf, on the right-hand side. Just about see evidence of the golf course on the right-hand side there, under the Toyota markings, as we head down towards what is a tricky braking zone in for Indianapolis. drop a gear or two heading through here, and then you've got to shed a lot of speed going into the bank corner for Indianapolis to the left here. Powering out in 4th gear, short shoot down to then heavy braking for the ultra slow Arnage corner. You don't want to pick up the grass on the inside, you don't want to transgress track limits on the left, on the outside. As we pass under the Porsche banner, we see the chevrons there for the penalty marker positions, and now we're going to go into the Yahoo Flying S's section of the Porsche corners as we start to turn right here. Drop a gear or two it is, missing the apex slightly, Huge Jar. It's going to compromise the run into the second part, and then into the third corner. Want to avoid that wall on the right, but get as close as you can in qualifying trim. Dropping further gears then to get the car to turn into the S2 karting as we run through here. Don't go over the white line on exit, and then we just full throttle towards the Ford chicane, the first of the 2 chicanes at the end of the lap. Huge Jar then coming past the pit lane on the right, dropping the gears down to 4th for the Ford chicane. Then we want to go down possibly all the way to 2nd. We're going to try and power out in 3rd gear for Huge Jar. We're going to cross the line here and set a 407.949. This one for P. Wilds will probably not help. TX gets the fastest lap of 406.384, as looks like Roux's gone 2nd, as we are riding on board with P. Wilds, with Sully, and making a bit of a mess of this one. He's going to hope for a good exit out of the final chicane and stay on for a good lap, good flyer here. That's a 2-second penalty coming for him, as we've got Larry about to cross the line from 8th into pole position. Larry on a 405.698, so a very handy time for him. Dr. Sparkle has crossed the line in 7th. Our Saito is out there in 8th position. Kuros Kai 9th at the moment. Sorry, Sully out there and has 11th place at the moment. Has not finished his lap. He's very different to the rest of the grid here, so presumably did not manage to finish that one nicely. The Mountain Dew team at the tail of the grid at this current point, but Larry is happy with that P1, is not going round again. Speedstars TX is going to go for it again. He's got he's got a probably 1 second deficit to, I think, Huge Jar in 4th place, but up ahead of him on the road. So we'll see, maybe, shall we, Huge Jar's sector time as he's about to come up to the grid here to find the laser beam to pass. About here. And that's a half-second penalty paying, and he's already down by 9/10. So TX gunning here for potentially trying to take pole position away from Larry. He needs to find nearly 7/10 of a second under the Total banner before we will exit out of Mulsanne. We'll get an idea about how his lap is going at the moment. This is TX then powering early out of the corner. How is that lap? It's 1.3 seconds down. The soft tyres just don't seem to last well at all coming through here. Let's see the other drivers come through. Anybody else able to improve? I don't think Huge Jar is going to. This is Jim rocking a Gulf colour scheme Among Us livery today, I believe. So we'll get a nice close-up of that later on into the race. I really need that safety car. Always announced after qualifying, says Zen. Exactly, thank you very much. Okay, missing today, so just our Saito among the R group. But Jim, it looks like our drivers are not able to really put the lap together here in the second part of this lap. I wonder if Dr. Sparkle, who treated his soft tyres a little bit more gently than everybody else, P. Wilds is gaining behind here nicely. Turn right into braking zone for Indianapolis. Go down the gears, not very smooth, but sometimes being on the ragged edge is fast. That is a faster lap then for Dr. Sparkle. He needs to find 7/10 of a second, and it's all gone there I imagine P. Wilds is going to come past there for Team Mountain Dew. Oh no, he doesn't make the pass, in fact. So I wonder if that was just questionable, but the end of qualifying has occurred. Here is your qualifying result then for the drivers. Larry with a emphatic pole position of 4:05.698. He's going to be really hoping to finish this season on a high. Then next to him we have TX in the Honda NSX on a 4:06.384, 6/10, nearly 7/10 of a second away from Larry. Roux is some distance back, actually, 2.1 from the pole position, but possibly just taking it fairly steady on that first flying lap. In third position with Huge Dart very close to him in pace. In fourth, Jim is fifth, Maxwell is sixth, with Dr. Sparkle in seventh and R. Saito in eighth place. Kuros Kai starts ninth. Mercury will drive the safety car and out-qualified Sully and P. Wiles, who didn't set a time, so the Mountain Dew team will start at the very back of the grid. In fact, I think Mercury will end up having to let those two past, and look out for P. Wiles, who start directly behind Mercury in a standing start grid formation. Hopefully he won't run into him. We've got Larry going to take the pole. We have a USA field, with the exception, of course, of Maxwell, who's representing Thailand today. And always, of course, safety car, lap 7. Thank you to Chaotica for the info. Lap 7 for that safety car. It will be earlier than we are used to. I'm just going to see if we've got the weather forecast anywhere. But I don't see it. 7 seconds to go. Weather is set to random, so we will wait and see what happens. But it's about to get underway for our race, and hopefully we will get to see a fantastic run here for the drivers for this season finale of the GT4 World Challenge. And will be underway for you with Larry on the right-hand side, very French looking, with TX alongside him in the Tennessee Titans colours. We've got 5 lights on for the final time this season. It's drop the clutch and go, 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 and it's TX slow away from the start. Roux getting away nicely in the Lamborghini for Team Spotify, but actually looks like Huge Dart getting the second phase of the start very neat and tidy on the way through, as the drivers are well aware that they can lose the race at the start of this one. As we run through, then it looks like Larry is holding on in the Porsche at the head of the field. Lots of speculation that perhaps Larry has been moaning this season about the car that he has to drive, but at the moment it's quick around Le Mans. TX has dropped down to 4th position, with Huge Jar going around the outside on the approach into the S's at the Dunlop Corps, but down into Descent de la Chapelle and into now Tertre Rouge for the first time at full speed. Huge Jar was slightly over the curb there. I wonder if a penalty marker will come up on his car, but they'll be keen not to lose ground here. It looks like Huge Jar has managed to avoid a penalty for that first run, but Larry, lovely, and away really well at the start of this one. And I wonder if Larry has actually put the Gus review thumbs up count on his car here, that I requested last time out on the special livery. Speedstars and Huge Jar run line astern, side by side, even down the main straight. And then we've got current champion Roux of season 3.3 getting that Lamborghini pace, and a big nerf up the rear to Larry as well. In a real hurry up, it seems, is Roux to progress away from the rest of the field and make this a 2-horse race between himself and Roux. Further back we have Dr. Sparkle in 5th place ahead of Maxwell in the Ferrari, and Jim as well out there in the NSX running in 7th place. Sully down in well, I would say down in 8th at the moment, but it looks like that just swapped round slightly for him. TX is alongside Huge Jar as they head down into Mulsanne corner, and they'll sort themselves out and go single file as soon as possible down into here. But it is tricky braking and handling. The different cars do require different treatment into that corner. Some brake and change down on the right-hander before the main big stop. Some are able to balance the car neat and tidy into the corner much better. But Roux's actually lost a bit of pace here. I wonder what happened for Roux coming through Mulsanne. Did he get off the order, or it's actually just Heusjar already made the pass, and TX had made the chase back nicely to catch. So TX up to second position after starting poorly, but this back where he started the race as Larry chucks gravel in the faces of everybody on the way through. I wonder what that actually felt like, riding on board with somebody like Heusjar, for example. This was TX though. He was the first one to follow Larry, trying to find a little bit of room, so running through and clattering the splitter and the fenders, getting gravel all up in his grill there for TX as they chase down Larry here in the French mime inspired livery for Larry today. But it looks like the Porsche working pretty well out there at this early stage of the race. And let's just see how deep into the race the drivers can go from that standing start. How soon will they have to pit? Oh, there's Roux with a big tail slide going through the Porsche curves. I like a bit of that, as you know. So I think we'll get some style points for that run. As we turn, I think we're about to turn right, and hanging the tail out into the marbles there from Roux, and he held it nicely. So back towards the front of the grid, and it's Larry leading TX on the way into the final chicane. Heusjar just over the white lines again slightly, still struggling to get the car where he wants it. And Roux in the Beastie Boys new album Team Spotify livery. Thanks to Larry for all the notes prior to the race. Dr. Sparkle in 5th with Jim in 6th position. And then the gap's starting to open out a little bit. We've got Maxwell in 7th, his usual position here in GT4. Not at the front, not at the back, very much on his own in the middle of the pace as he runs. P. Wilds in 10th, Kuros Kai down in 11th. The Porsche working for one driver today, not for his teammate. Mercury will wait for lap 7 for his race, and Larry leads us by over a second heading into Tertre Rouge. Then for the second time of asking, he has over 3/4 of a tank, so should get those four laps out of his first stint. And TX slightly less than 3/4 of a tank, so it's time to start looking at that fuel usage. If they can get a 4-lap stint out of the first stint and then run on to 3 laps, obviously that gets them to lap 7 that they want to be. Mind you, it is the start of lap 7, so they can probably just run a handy double 3-lap stint at the start of the race, and that brings them in. Once the safety car comes out, everybody slows down. This is Roux chasing down Heusjar, going for a bump draft potentially. Down the Mulsanne we go. So let's follow Heusjar then, shall we? And see when Roux is going to just increase our speed a little bit. I don't know if we will top 170 here in these GT4s. You can see, just checking out the mirrors here as they turn to go in. Roux giving another little nerf in the rear. And then at the lead of the race, it is Larry leading TX by 9/10 of a second. Heusjar and Roux in 3rd and 4th, respectively. Looks like Larry's fuel is looking good in the Porsche. So he should be in with a good shout here today of a strong finish to the season. Jim's got ahead of Dr. Sparkle. Maxwell is snaking around behind them, having come through Mulsanne corner, and a little bit of a problem, I think, coming through Mulsanne. Maybe slightly distracted. Turned in very early and then had really bad understeer or overspeed through the corner. No harm done to the car, but he's stuck out there at the moment, down in P7. Picked up a penalty as well as Dr. Sparkle gets back past Jim just on slipstream. Narrow entry to Indianapolis for the Kellogg Special K Ferrari, but he gets ahead of the Golf colour scheme Among Us liveried NSX that Jim is driving today. Maxwell will take that penalty now, take that pain, and possibly We'll see if Sully will take advantage. No, Sully will get a penalty just the same on the way out of Arnage corner. So back to the battle at the head of the circuit. TX could really do with catching Larry here to help defend against his penalty. So that will be his plan, is to try and make no further infractions and stay as close as possible to Larry. Lose as little as he can from running over the white lines, I imagine. It's very easily done here at Le Mans. Huge in third and Roux in fourth place. They come through the Porsche curves, through the S's Ducating, and head down towards that Ford chicane where the pit lane entry is, and the Ferris wheel, of course. He's added the Homer Simpson Tamaco sticker. Has Dr. Sparkle. You can see just on the door. We have Jim following Dr. Sparkle down the main start-finish straight. Maxwell has lost out quite a lot of ground there to Sully, who also has another half-second penalty on the car. Maxwell gone for the largest prancing horse I think I've ever seen on a Ferrari. So no doubt who he's repping for, and it's a matte colour scheme as well. Will we see any rain today, I wonder? Well, it doesn't look as dark as when it did when we started the race, so looks like we might get away with it at the moment. Sully in 8th. Of course, legend has it, it always rains at Le Mans, but for a 24-hour race, not necessarily for the full one here. I'm assuming those are song lyrics on the back of our Saito's car, but I'm afraid I don't recognise them myself. But I do have some... oh no, it may actually be maybe a quote from Les Miserables, says Larry in my notes. I don't know whether to believe Larry, quite frankly, from what he said, but we will go with it. P. Wilds, 3 seconds of penalties on the car, unfortunately, but picking up a personal best, so building the speed through this phase. Larry has a 1 second penalty to TX's half-second off-throttle penalty, so that's a pretty big one for Larry, unfortunately. It's a big baguette size of a penalty on the car for the leader. Should be okay, should hold on to the lead, because it will, the guy behind him has less, but there you've got Larry picking up a fastest lap position through sector 4, I think it is, at this stage. But 1 second penalty on the car. This is lap 3. So, like I say, trying to get to lap 4, I believe, for this one. The ideal position to stop would be at the end of lap 6, but it depends how you want to run the rest of the race, I suppose. And that then is Roux picking up a fastest sector of the race, and that looked like Dr. Sparkle in the gravel. Let's have a look at Dr. Sparkle and the woes of Tamaco Homer Simpson. I wonder, was that thanks to Jim? This is the approach then into Mulsanne corner, and we just completely overdid our braking, unfortunately, and just helped ourselves to an issue there for Dr. Sparkle, down in 6th place and about to lose out, I imagine, to Maxwell and to Jim. But here are the penalties about to be paid by TX, and only Roux coming through this sequence without a problem here. The two drivers in front will go off throttle for their respective amounts of penalty time, and of course Roux will be at full throttle. He distances huge jar as we close in on the leaders now. Roux, a much better run for him through this lap, making it a clean one, and TX and Larry and Roux all on fairly similar amounts of fuel, although Larry is definitely using the least fuel so far. That will probably just translate to less stationary time refueling. I don't think he's going to stretch to an extra run. Quite a mixture on the livery there. We've got Moet Chandon champagne, and we've got a cartoon frog and a snail on there as well as the mime on the front here of the car. So everybody passing the pit lane, of course. No pit stops, just you. Well, there you go. I say no pit stops, and in comes Huge Jar So that's interesting for me, pitting with a lap to spare on the tyres. Perhaps he feels like he can't make the hard tyres work, but certainly TX and Roux are making their hard tyres work, and Larry's mediums here are second best, to say the least. Very different tyre strategies at play here than in the GT3s. I think the main tyre is going to still be the medium, but everybody has to use the medium and the hard. We did see the soft tyre make an appearance in the GT3 World Challenge race, but I don't know if we will here today. I imagine someone will go for the fastest lap nonetheless. The marshal just casually strolling down the circuit. Obviously been asked to come back to race control for something, maybe forgot his lunch, and TX then will have a good opportunity to catch Larry now. As we go down the Mulsanne straight once again, we look behind and see Roux some distance away, and then this is TX closing in, and I think going to bump draft Larry expecting it, I'm sure, just to get away from Roux slightly here. 1.3 seconds the gap behind TX. Gonna hit Larry again, I wonder. That's interesting, you don't get an inboard rear facing camera for the NSX, but you do for Larry in his Porsche. He's got good speed here, 161. It's 4 minutes and 6 his best lap. 4:05 Roux's fastest lap of the race so far. So will that translate to fewer laps overall? We shall see as they go underneath the branches of the tree there on the Courbe des Unardier, I think it is, as they run down in towards Mulsanne. Larry defending to the inside slightly, or maybe that's his line into the corner. On the way out of Mulsanne we go, on top of the curb, getting away with it, and no one out in the gravel among the top three. Big gaps opening out though. The following group, led by Maxwell in fourth, still has not even entered that Mulsanne corner, so he is 22 seconds behind the leader and the trio at the head of the field. Dr. Sparkle in fifth, Sully in sixth place. Dr. Sparkle on a good recovery after that incident earlier on, but it looks like sadly we've just missed the slipstream overtake from TX. Let's have it again then. So coming on past the Courbe du Golf, and it was straightforward but still significant for TX, who gets into the lead of the race. Larry then down to second position, getting too much apex through Arnage corner. Easy done. TX will also then get a penalty, but not to pay on this run past the chevrons. It'll be the next one. So Larry's target is clear, is to catch TX. TX will go into the pits, I think, at the end of this lap, end of lap 4. I wonder if Larry can run through till the end of lap 5. What we saw was that the undercut was the most powerful situation for the drivers in the GT3, so those pitting earlier had a big advantage and actually opened up a gap of 8 to 9 seconds by pitting one lap earlier, so it didn't always pay dividends here. This is the end of lap 4. The safety car will come out in 2 laps time, so Speed Stars will go into the pits. Will Larry follow to stay on the same strategy? That's a no, as Roux comes in as well. So Larry will run quite happily on the medium tyre, and he's certainly got grip for one more lap at least. He's got fuel for one more lap, and Larry taking the Porsche round on another lap. So this isn't a really important one for Larry. No mistakes for this lap needed, as I think Maxwell will come in. No, he's going to go round and have a fairly difficult lap on the run. Sully into the pits. Dr. Sparkle also into the pits. Our Saito passes the pit lane. Has already pitted, I think, our Saito, looking at the amount of fuel on board, unless he's taking this very, very gently. As Kuros Kai comes in. I've got lots of pit stops happening. Of course, Hughes was the first pitter on the previous lap, so he's going to be doing 3-lap stints, no question. The pits comes Pete Wilds. Mercury waits for his opportunity. 2 more flying laps then before we see Mercury, as Maxwell now in 2nd position, yet to pit of course, and I think can get this car around for a 5th lap. I imagine he can, but very strange view of the walking marshals in front of the camera. They need to stop doing that. There's a cameraman there in that position, so let's have some consideration to the broadcast, please. Our Saito running in 3rd in the matte-coloured Spotify, matte red Spotify car in P3, and Roux having pitted now and out in 4th and struggling on those cold tyres, so this could be a good advantage for Larry. But TX has lost time in the pits. He had to put more fuel in the car and while stationary, and Roux has gone for a short stint here, gone to get the medium tyres out of the way. I think Team of Champions written on the back of the Team Spotify car I've just spotted in P4, and he's gone for the medium tyres, just half a tank of fuel. It's taken through to the safety car period, so lots of different strategies at play. This is TX trying to get the bump draft going on the back of Heusjar's McLaren. TX on the medium tyres with a full tank of fuel. Seems a bit wasteful, but he will be able to run a full stint on the medium tyres. They are fuel limited, not tyre limited today on any tyre apart from maybe the soft. You can get the whole tank of fuel running. That then is the new Jim, and he says on the back wing, Roux is the imposter from Jim. Some action though happening up here as TX has managed to bump draft Heusjar all the way up and has managed to get a muscle past Roux on the long run down towards Mulsanne corner, and Roux peeling alongside, getting a little bit of slipstream. I don't imagine wants to get involved in these 2 drivers' fights. Roux will be feeling pretty confident of his strategy today, I'm sure. It all seemed to unravel on round 6 of the championship for Roux. It was a bit of a cluster situation of errors and difficulties and strategic problems for the Lamborghini crew. But of course you'll allow them after 5 consecutive wins. But he'd be keen to get back on the top step if at all possible today. Championship already decided, and the 3 drivers run, this is very typical Le Mans style running here, just slipstream, tag team, temporary alliances featuring here for the drivers. TX takes the classic racing line through Indianapolis, unfazed by Heusjar being on his inside. Down into our nage we go. There's a move. Excuse me, a move from Roux, and a bit of a clumsy one. I think had to back out of it to allow Heusjar back in. This is on board with Roux. So he saw his opportunity. Heusjar moving to the left. Roux goes down the inside, brakes late, and then just, I think, too much apex curb slowed to allow Heusjar to retake the position, which is sporting, but ultimately, so quite clumsy to pick up the apex with the inside tyre. Larry has now pitted, so these drivers will come through to try and undercut Larry if they can. We'll see where he feeds through. Larry with 8% fuel remaining. There will be 1 more lap before the safety car comes out. Not quite sure what Heusjar is trying to accomplish here. He's getting his tyres dirty. He's hurting his racing lines through the corners, moving around behind Speedstars through the Porsche and karting S's. It's never going to work well for you. You're not going to make a pass through there. Maxwell pits as well. Our Saito continues for his 6th racing lap here without a pit stop. Our Saito will take the lead of the race. TX has passed Larry in the pits, but will Larry feed out here? It is going to be very close. Threes. Larry then overtaken by Speedstars, by I think Roux, and holding on possibly. No, Heusjar has gone through as well. So Larry on the tail of these runners. He's fitted the medium tyres for a 2nd stint on the mediums to put a short amount of fuel in the car. So he's going to just run round 1 more lap, I think, before the safety car, and then pit while the safety car has slowed the field. So Larry doing his best here. Roux got his hands full trying to pass Heusjar for what is now 3rd, though has yet only 2 seconds away from our Saito, and like I say, 1 more pit stop still to pay for our Saito at the end of this stint. He was cruising around to try and get the best out of this first stint, and I think that will help. He will save a little bit of speed running in the pit lane while the other drivers have to stick with the safety car speed of 65 to 70 miles an hour. This is Roux hassling Heuskinveld to get a move on down the Mulsanne straight again. Personal best for Heuskinveld after Roux has been accelerating and pressurising. Larry losing a little bit of ground here to the guys in front on those new tyres, but I think unfussed, saving fuel potentially, so perhaps may have short-shifted his way up as the drivers battling for the podium at the moment swap positions. Heuskinveld and Roux get past TX. That's what happened with these drivers on the previous lap as well. We're waiting for, of course, our safety car driver Mercury to come out of the pit lane. It's the end of this lap. Certainly be out of the pits before they arrive at the next one. Roux through Mulsanne this time, not making too much contact, but getting a little bit of rubbing is racing action happening right now as they chase down our Saito, who is that little bit slower, thanks to being on the hard tyre since the start. Larry has dropped back in a big way from this group, but of course he will close in, so he could afford a slow lap here. I think he's not too under threat from behind, but these three really battling over this lead position on the presumably for the safety car. Roux will be heading into the pits, I feel, either at the end of this lap or the one after it, under the pit lane, but that's contact with our Saito. And not for the first time this season we've seen Roux getting involved in incidents that are just entirely unnecessary. Watching from TX's point of view here, so Roux going down the inside, just not really expecting that our Saito would struggle on the corner on really old tyres, and Roux then having to cede position once again to allow for his own error, I think, and causing an issue as we see Mercury getting ready to come on out of the pit lane. TX has opened the gap. Our Saito back into second position, unfortunately for him, after receiving fairly rough treatment out of sequence as he is. I think he'll get a penalty for running wide there as well. Roux is all over his tail and is making contact once again. Roux is pressurising his teammate here as they both go into the pits. I think he wanted to get the favourable position into the pit lane. Larry into the pits as well, off the hard tyres. He's got those hard tyres out of the way, and now we see Mercury, who has picked up his traditional 3-second penalty. It is now traditions, so I kind of expect a Valtteri Bottas toasting meme for Mercury. It wouldn't be a Mercury safety car driver job, would it, if he hadn't already picked it? I think he may have picked that up on his way into the pits, but Mercury does enjoy trolling us a little bit out there, and he will go even slower, possibly to a dead stop on the way out of Arnage corner, because they have hardly even got much in the way of acceleration done. So we are used to seeing the Tennessee Titans livery on board with TX here. Nothing, I don't think any new stickers applied, no new messages on the rear wing, so just very it's still an attractive design, and he's sticking with it. It's football season, of course, whereas we have got the caffeine free, no sugar, with gold accents, and the number 44 on the Ferrari on the McLaren, I should say, of Heuskinveld. Nice looking car, and very sympathetic livery to the shapes of the McLaren. Behind him we have Maxwell, who Larry says has gone the classic Ferrari colour scheme. Doesn't want to honour the French in any way. Sully, let's have a look at that again, shall we? Sully mistiming things going into the corner. Did Maxwell just cautious break, or Sully just a moment of inattention here. The drivers have got a great closing speed, and he's clattered the barrier, has Sully, because he wasn't expecting the drivers to be quite so close to one another. It's back to Maxwell, and Larry tells me, at least, that Maxwell isn't someone who particularly cares for the French, because they put butter in his hot chocolate milkshake, sorry, and he's never stopped thinking about it since. Behind him we have the Mountain Dew Flaming Hot. I've never had a flaming hot drink before, so again, is that chili? Usually take a drink to cool down after hot chili, but what's on the rear wing? I can't see. It's the Dew Crew on the rear wing of the Mountain Dew Flaming Hot edition for Sully. This is the Mountain Dew Flaming Hot flavour. Larry says that Sully works closely with the FDA to make sure that foods and drugs are safe, but he enjoys organic drinks like Mountain Dew. He also enjoys not just to quench his thirst, but to de-rust parts of his race car and as well. Behind him we have what we've mentioned before, the new Beastie Boys album that Glover supplies Rue with, and that is in honour of him attending law school, so that he can indeed fight for the right of us all to party. I think if you scan the Spotify sound note, you will probably get the album on here. If it's not fun, why do it? And Team of Champions on the back. I'm very pleased with their championship run. They've been dominating all of the GT World Challenges that we have. There's a baguette on the roof, there's a tricolor on the roof as well, but let's just check out the front of Larry's car. It is a mime holding the race number. There's a croissant, and then there's a curious mix of cartoons and champagne on here. No indication either from the chat or on the car as to whether Gus approves of this with a single or double thumbs up. Zen is saying that he was right about Saito staying out to lap 6. It was a good effort from Saito to get to the end of lap 6. And this is Larry's livery with a Michelin helmet as well. Nice touch on there, very French. We've got the second Spotify for our Saito. Now, I have been told that this is Les Miserables. It is indeed, and it says, "For the wretched of the earth there is a flame that never dies." So make of that poetic litany what you will. I have seen things that look more like Les Miserables other than just the sticker, but there you go. That is, he's obviously a fan of the soundtrack to either the stage show or the movie, our Saito. We have what is now a traditional Puma Porsche camo livery. It's very good looking, but it is due a change. Then we have what is now Jim's Among Us livery. There's several of the adults playing this game in Deviant Racing. Rue is the imposter, but apparently I'm reliably informed by Larry that Jim is actually the biggest liar of everybody, and is usually the imposter even when he isn't, he says. Jim and Larry is not bitter in the slightest about losing Among Us frequently from everybody in the league here. But Car 68 with the Golf colour scheme and rocking an awful lot of Among Us, and a little bit of Webbo love on there as well, which I like to see there. I want to know what Larry's family make of that livery, because I think that's going to be a bit of a favourite. We've seen the Serial City, but we've added the Tamako Homer Simpson on the side here for Team Special K, because why not? I can't really think of a good reason, but it's still quite entertaining, pretty fun. This is a different take on the Flaming Hot. We've got pink and colour change accents then on P Wild's car. That's pretty nice as well, isn't it? The Mountain Dew crew always go the extra mile and look fantastic out there. Ducru on the rear spoiler as well. Mercury has not added anything to his safety car, of course, but we're about ready to get back underway. Racing with half the race left to go. 27 minutes will be on the clock. Mix of strategies. I think we might see a couple of drivers coming in. Heuskinveld may do one more lap on the current run. Maxwell has plenty of fuel and tyres on the car. Heuskinveld will want to get those hard tyres up to temperature, and into the pits comes Sully to take a cheapish safety car pit stop, but not super cheap. Into the pits comes Sully. Speedstars will get the green flag as soon as we cross the start-finish line once again, and we go racing for the final stint of the season finale here for season 3.3. As Speedstars gets away by just less than 1/10 of a second. Heuskinveld already beating him on the way out of the first phase of that restart, and he's challenging and getting by, and that was an impressive one on the hard tyres. Is very late on the brakes, runs Maxwell, confident on his new medium tyres, and Roux is stuck down in 4th place right now with Larry just behind him. Of course, everybody is caught back up. The clouds darken over the Le Mans circuit here into the start of lap 8 as we have battle throughout the field, but the top 5 have already started to gap the rest of the field here as our Saito drops back. But we have Heuskinveld then in 2nd position, got Larry on the tail of this group, and we go down the Mulsanne once again. Zen calculating 14 total laps, 8 to go. Alexandra telling me that Gus and Charlie both like the mime, but they're being quiet about it. Very nice indeed. But what about the Among Us livery? What do we think? In the family Larry, or Papas as it may well be, the family. Heuskinveld 2nd place. Maxwell chasing down in 3rd. He's not been this high and been mixing with these drivers before, but now he gets the opportunity to run it with the slipstream. So Maxwell fancying a good run here, and as I say, with the biggest Scuderia Ferrari prancing horse livery sticker I have ever seen applied to a car. It's a little gauche, shall we say, in honour of our French friends. Maxwell screaming up into 2nd place with that slipstream and hoping to tag on to the back of TX, but Heuskinveld dipping back underneath and getting the run once again to run level. Where is Larry? Still in 5th on the back end of this group. Roux starting as the drivers start to stack up, and Maxwell is very late on the brakes down into Mulsanne. Almost hit TX, but didn't quite, so half a second between them. Big difference in tyre though for Maxwell. He's heavier on fuel, but got great pace right now on the medium tyre here as Roux chases down Heuskinveld. Roux is definitely still within a shout here of making it 6 wins from 7 in season 3.3. That will be clearly his aim, as Arcane obviously missing was the other winner in the most recent round that we enjoyed a couple of weeks ago. The first one to topple the all-conquering Roux so far this season. Larry is needing to get a hurry up here, really, but he's very, very heavy with fuel at this stage. So Roux in 4th. I think Larry has managed to do the job there nicely as we run through. It's Speedstars TX leading us ahead of Maxwell with Heuskinveld in 3rd. Roux then pulling alongside Heuskinveld and may have actually got ahead here. He has, before they reach the Porsche curves. And Roux into 3rd position. And it looks like Maxwell has got some great speed in that Ferrari. Some huge scream of tyres. Is that Maxwell pushing hard again? Roux has just run out of racing room there on the track. I think he's just Heuskinveld scrapes the wall in the S Ducating section. Heuskinveld put on the back foot. Roux clearly into 3rd position now, and comfortably, as Heuskinveld making a slight mistake for the first time following the drivers through the S Ducating and hitting the wall with a reasonable force. So Maxwell in really good form at this stage. That was Huge Jar heading into the pits. That promotes Larry up 1 to 4th position. And we have Maxwell running in that 2nd place, just 1 second away from TX. Maxwell about half a tank of fuel, TX about a third of a tank of fuel remaining, with Rue and Larry in there as well. So I think the drivers will get away, this group, with one more pit stop before the end of the race, and then they will short fuel or long fuel dependent on where things stand. Kirosky's in 5th, we have Jim in 6th, in that Among Us Golf livery, with P. Wilds in 7th. Dr. Sparkle is, well, I keep joining him and he goes off track, so I mean, that is no criticism, that's exactly what I'd be doing. But unfortunately for him, that's where things stand. Sully right at the back of the grid has obviously not fared well after the restart. Maxwell's speed has eluded him slightly there through the first sector, but he will just about be able to latch on to the back of TX and get that slipstream. Well, I say just about, but that Ferrari is like an absolute rocket. He's not worried about the fuel usage at the moment, I think is the key difference here. He got a good bump draft going, but didn't manage to stay with TX. The real art to it is to cruise up and make the lightest possible contact and then apply the throttle so that you are bump drafting and you're actually pushing, not hitting and ending up backing off from the car. A true bump draft is a push, not a hit like that, and that was a little on the aggressive side. TX will certainly be feeling it in the cockpit as Rue is now cruising up behind Maxwell. It's not helping Maxwell's speed, in fact it's hurting his speed. So Rue goes past and into 2nd place, and this is looking ominous for the he's had a double slipstream down the long straight, and Rue now into the lead of the race, and these drivers are going to have to work together to defeat Rue today, I think, now that he's finally got that clear air he's been longing for since lap 1, and that's a long time in Le Mans, you have to say. And that's Rue out and having a problem. Wow, what on earth is going down here? Rue outbraking himself, question mark? Let's have a look from the nose here. It sounded like tyres immediately, like he'd missed his braking zone, but Maxwell it was, he just put Rue straight off. Maxwell gets a hit from behind as well. Everybody involved in that one, and I imagine Maxwell is going to have to hold his hands up for that error. And we'll have one more look at it now. We're back to live action now. Maxwell losing a chance at the podium. TX picked up a 4-second penalty thanks to that situation. I don't know if the rest of the drivers will just, if Rue will just let these guys take their penalty and then they carry on the fight, or Rue will feel, no, I'm going to go off into the lead now, thank you very much, because I have had a bad enough of being treated that way. I'm the champion, don't you know, says Rue. And here goes then, full speed for Rue, potentially goes through the other 2 cars who pick up the penalties. Larry takes 2nd place now. Remember, Larry started on pole and had 0.7 of a second in hand with the pole position today. I know it's a long track, but that's still a decent chunk of time as Maxwell gets past TX. And TX has got to feel pretty well aggrieved that basically Maxwell caused an issue and TX ends up with a 4-second penalty. But anyway, they're still within shout of each other. There is still plenty of time to continue, and the sun is shining on the Le Mans circuit. We've had a threat of rain, but nothing has transpired yet. We have 18 minutes and 3/4 remaining. And it is Rue now in the lead of the race by 2.2 seconds. Larry has a 0.5 second penalty on the car and really needs to catch Rue here on this run, on their approach to the next corner, to the next long run down the Mulsanne straight. Into the pits comes TX, so he's going to lose a bit of ground. Larry has over 1/2 a tank of fuel remaining on the car. Rue just exactly 1/2 a tank and a reasonable amount of medium tyre grip to go. Larry is catching, has managed to drop that gap down to 1 second flat at the moment, and that should give him enough of a slipstream down the Mulsanne. Maxwell may also be able to get in on that if Larry makes a clean pass, but if he decides to do a gentle pump draft push down the Mulsanne, then he will hopefully his perspective, be able to gap Maxwell now. Here is Larry on board with the driver as we head into Tertre Rouge. Half a second penalty on the car. Has to be paid for, of course. And then we run at full speed. Can't see the rear camera there to see how far Maxwell is, but it's a fair distance, 2.1 seconds. Keep your eye on that gap, 0.7, as it looks like Roux is weaving down this straight to try and stop the slipstream. I don't think it's going to work, but he's giving it a go, isn't he? So the gap is now just over 7 tenths. It's going to drop down again. This is a long time on this straightaway, where the drivers will, of course, have that chance to catch. It is now just over half a second, and the gap to Maxwell has remained unchanged down this run down the Mulsanne straight. We've got Maxwell then probably going to need to pit at the end of this lap, I think. They turn to the right through the Coupe des Unaudiers and head down towards Mulsanne. Little kick of dirt or exhaust overrun there, coming out of one of the cars. I think that might have been Roux. Larry ran over. And then Larry closing in. And heart in your mouth as you stop with a driver right behind you down into Mulsanne corner. Maxwell still struggling on that corner. It's very tough track. Is Le Mans, of course, country roads for the majority of the year, all but about 3 weeks of the year. It's so Zen saying bumps caused the smoke, so that was a bump. Okay, good note there, Zen. Thank you. Hadn't noticed that in all the other bump drafts we've had, so it clearly was quite pronounced, that one. So Larry through Indianapolis into Arnage next. And then, of course, the penalty is going to be taken. So he's got to do all that work all over again. Closed in to within about 0.3 of a second at one point, but it's single file through the next corner. And down we go. The short shoot out to the Porsche curves, and Larry loses over a second thanks to that half-second off-throttle penalty. And Roux, that could be the decisive moment of the race. With 15 minutes to go, Roux takes a 2.1 second lead into the Porsche curves and the S2 karting. Behind them, Maxwell again didn't really manage to catch very much onto the back of Larry. I think Maxwell is running out of those medium tyres and not enjoying them very much. Larry will get one more good lap, I think, out of these mediums, and then Roux up there in P1 will go for one more lap, I think. But he may feel like with 14.5 minutes to go, it might be a good time to pit, and he does. So Larry will go on past the pit lane, try the undercut here. He's doing something slightly different to the rest of the drivers. Now, let me see. Zen said earlier on, didn't he, that he thinks it's going to be a 14 total lap race. So Larry, I don't think, is going to manage to use softs for the end. With one more lap, as Zen says, 4 to go as Larry crosses the line there. So he takes the lead by 10.7 seconds from Jim and now Dr. Sparkle. Similar strategies for these two. Should be able to use mediums for the end of the race, I think. The top 3. We'll see what Maxwell and Roux do with their tyre selection. Sully is in 6th place and passing the pit lane entry. We'll see, he will almost certainly get just that one more lap out of the tyres. So most everybody will be with one more pit stop, with the exception of Roux and Maxwell and TX. I think TX stopped. Yeah, TX stopped on the previous lap, so he's running through. Our Saito P Wilds come on out of the final chicane, the Virage de Raccourement, and Saito's a bit slow away in 9th place now, and Kuros Kai in 10th. Huge jar pits for his final pit stop. Larry is out there in the lead. We have lost a couple of drivers, but we're down to 11 runners and Larry leads us by 11.1 seconds, and this is a really important lap for Larry. He probably won't be able to get a personal best. Roux has the fastest lap of 4:05.3, helped, I'm sure, by slipstreaming. The wind has eased a little to 3.3 meters per second, and it's a slight crosswind into a headwind into the Mulsanne corner, but the majority of the Mulsanne straight is a slight crosswind on the circuit. Jim is in second place then, and these drivers will be trying to go for the overcut on Roux and Maxwell. Maxwell still very much on for a podium today, and I fancy his chances here as a reserve driver in taking part in only his 4th race of the season. This could be quite a good season finale run for Maxwell. Stranger has joined the lobby, but won't be permitted to race with us, so no worries there. We have Larry leading, of course, by that 11.5 seconds now, and heading towards the pit lane for the final 3 racing laps, I think it will be, for him. 11.5 minutes to run in this Le Mans season finale. It's been a very interesting, intriguing race for both races today, and I hope everybody is able to watch back the GT3 race at some stage in the future. Really grateful to everybody at Deviant Racing for subscribing, and the amount of watch time that we achieve on the Deviant Racing videos is incredibly impressive. Got a very loyal set of drivers and audience. I really do appreciate it. It's helping no end with my plan to try and build the channel here. Just under 11 minutes then to run, as this is Larry heading in towards Porsche curves, so named of course for his own manufacturer. And looks like this the front end of the Porsche is a little bit creased, but that's fairly typical for Le Mans. I'm surprised the cars are as clean as they are after 1 hour of racing. Imagine the state of these drivers' cars after 24 hours of running. So Larry, I imagine now, will be heading towards the pit lane, and we will see if he has managed to stay near to Roux's position on track once he comes out. Larry pits, and then I imagine will be followed closely by the other 2 behind him, Jim and Dr. Sparkle, for this last run. Dr. Sparkle's calculated that fuel very well. It's almost nothing remaining on the car, and in we go to the pits. And then this is what's going to be important, is where is Roux relative to Larry? How much fuel has Larry saved? So therefore, how few seconds does he have to spend stationary refueling, which tends to be the big advantage point here for the drivers pitting last. But Roux's pace is usually good enough. He was in the lead, of course, by a good couple of seconds in the previous round of pit stops. So let's see. Out he comes of the final chicane to start his 12th lap. 9 minutes on the clock, and we will see where Larry comes out, where they're going to feed out very close indeed together. Roux runs out on the marbles, taking a wide line. Roux will pick at first position, but Larry is only 1 second behind. Needs to get his tyres working well. He's just gone over the white line there. Hopefully that was off throttle, because otherwise there'll be a penalty appearing above the car. Larry 1.1 seconds away, managed to get away with that apex run, I think, for now at least. In we go then to Descente de la Chapelle, and heading towards Tertre Rouge to restart our run down the Mulsanne. And this then is how it appears. The weather looking threatening for the last couple of laps. It's got to be worrying the drivers a little bit. 4 minutes and 8, roughly 4 minute 10 laps. Roux has done a 4:05, 8 minutes 23. We are just, if drivers are going fast, they are just going to run the full distance of the 14 full racing laps. I imagine some of the tail runners will manage to finish the race on lap 13. Comacopa saying that livery is so accurate for how French things actually are. Just looking behind Larry, 7 seconds back is Maxwell at the moment. Larry trying to pick up the slipstream here from Roux, who last time they were in this position, Roux was weaving left and right, Kawakopa obviously enjoying this one. Soft tyres for Larry, that's interesting. He's going to try and get 3 laps out of the soft tyres, and I promise I saw that just before Zen noticed it as well. That will give him an advantage for the first lap, and then a big disadvantage on the third lap at speed. So Larry is definitely going to have his work cut out. Slipstream is having the most minute of effects here, but I think it's going to be close enough for him as we drop the speed down, click through the gears. Oh, that was a quick drop down to first and back up to second again. Got a double change there. Almost having a problem. Kawakopa saying, I don't know if I enjoy it or he's making fun of me. I'm pretty sure he's making fun of you, Kawakopa. Let's just have another look at this. Come on. There is nothing honouring of French culture about this livery. Maybe the Moet and Champagne, but really, I want to know, Kawakopa, why you don't race with a French flag against your name, if you are so French. But anyway, Roux is running in first position, 1.4 seconds ahead of Larry. In third place is Jim, who has plenty of fuel and is certainly going to run the hard tyres to a finish here. I think Maxwell may have just come unglued there in the previous sector, because he was running third. He's got a half-second penalty on the car. Maxwell trying to chase down a podium to finish the season strong, and hopefully he can, but it would be at the expense of Jim, so I'm conflicted. P. Wilds is P5 at the moment, with Dr. Sparkle in 6th place. I think Jim qualifies as my most engaged YouTube watcher and commenter, but closely followed by the Zenmeister here, of course, as well. Anatole is pretty active, but when he's racing, of course, isn't so much. So 7th is TX, who was challenging for the lead at the start of this race, but things have not gone to plan here for TX. He is running, though, on the medium tyres, and will be hoping to lift himself from that P7 at the moment. RSI2 in 8th. We have Guros Guy screeching the tyres through the Porsche curves. He was at the back of the grid earlier on. He's up to 9th now. Sully in the tall, wide and heavy Nissan, rocking the flaming hot Mountain Dew with the black background today in 10th place. Huge Jar, again another driver who was vying for the podium at the start of our race, now down in 11th place, and pace has definitely neglected him here at the tail of the field. Is that a problem for Sully? I thought he was going slowly through the corner, but no, I think we're okay. Larry has taken the lead. What has happened to Roux? Roux has dropped down, and I don't know how that's happened. I do apologise, but that has happened before the chicane at the end of the lap. Zen just rubbing, just mentioning surrender to a French person, which, yes, is a sore subject, I think. But I would say one of the results of French surrender through the years has been that a lot of their chateaus and their historic buildings are still beautifully intact. Here in the UK, all our castles and old buildings are all crumbled and ruined because of bombing raids and attacks. But anyway, Jim is in third position. Maxwell is about to, I was going to say breeze past, but no, he prefers to give a hefty bump draft rather than a push to Jim up here. Kawakopa telling me he has to pretend he's American to not be taken out during sport mode. He's lived in the US for 5 years. Formidable. I'm assuming you missed the food though, Kawakopa. Can you get decent French food in the US? Jim in third, Maxwell in fourth. I know for sure cheese is a difficulty, right? Some good fromage is definitely tricky to find out there. Roux is in second place, thanks to some unknown situation that befell him towards the end of the previous lap. A big job for Roux to try and catch Larry here, who had the pole position, has had the pace. Larry on the soft tyres, though, will be trying to eke those soft tyres out as much as he possibly can. You need to be aware that some of the lower half of the grid today may have a difficulty. Andrew Sexton saying, is this the newest Forza Motorsport? No, this is Gran Turismo 7. This is PlayStation. We don't discuss such things as Xbox games or Microsoft games here. This is Sony Central. So this is the beautiful sunset effect at Le Mans in Gran Turismo 7, and this is GT4 race cars for this championship. But great to have you here, Andrew. Absolutely. Zen saying we have Mexican and Chinese and Thai and nearly everyone, but we don't have anything French in the US. You have the Statue of Liberty. You have the concept of liberty itself from the French, so I think you ought to probably honour the French a little bit better. However, Larry up there in first position, under 2 minutes on the clock, and Larry has a 2-second lead at this stage. Maxwell in third place, so it is Larry's to lose today. We could have only our third winner of 7 races in this season 3.3, and it might well be Larry. Maxwell could make it onto the podium as a reserve driver as well, with reduced practice time this season. Maybe Maxwell has actually just been practicing for Le Mans all season. He's just saved it all up for this last one. Jim's in fourth in the comically liveried Honda NSX today, rocking those Gulf colours and the Among Us stickers. Rouge Gap now 1.6 seconds as they begin their lap 13 with 1 minute and 5. They begin their lap 14 and final lap as Maxwell comes through, and Jim to start their final lap as well. TX will be there for the final lap at racing speed. Sunset is taking effect here. Timid says if you've ever had a great croissant, you may excuse some French. So yeah, love for croissant in the chat here at the moment. Let's name our favourite French things on this final lap in honour of the glorious Le Mans circuit. Our Saito will cross the line, 30 seconds on the clock as P. Wilds will stop for a fairly unscheduled pit stop, I imagine, slightly miscalculating the gaps there. Sully is in 9th, and I think we'll cross the line ahead of Huge Jar, and I wonder if we will get Kuroskai decide to give it up here at the end. He might be able to pass P. Wilds though, so it's possible. Just a few seconds to go for Kuroskai. You might see him stop before the line. No, he's going to take it. He's going to have the final lap here. The gap then for Larry is just 1.3 seconds, and that's not comfortable down the Mulsanne straight. They're halfway down. Roux has got a mission that is clear. He's got the fastest lap to this point so far. He's on medium tyres, he's on low fuel, and it's a run here to the end. Andrew Sexton saying, if only there could be a game to finally bring the GT and Forza races to one spot, that would put a nice mix to online racing. I definitely agree. I think if we had one good place to run, but competition does supposedly breed better results. We obviously have an F1 game, and the first of a new season starting on this channel later on today. We do have an F1 that has cross-play available to everybody, but unfortunately we do get a situation where the game is not exactly improved year on year or edition on edition, because there's no competition, I feel. So I think there is a reason, although you could argue that an Xbox user isn't going to buy a PlayStation just for the sake of getting Gran Turismo 7, but likewise PC users as well. But yes, I think it's an interesting concept. Danny likes the French horns. Isaac likes disco fries, which is good. Everyone has made the lead lap, confirm that, but this is the battle for the win today. Into Indianapolis, Larry has a lead of only 0.6 of a second, kicks out some gravel into Roux's face and ruins that nice livery on the Lamborghini for Team Spotify. A lot of pressure on Larry here. We'll see if he can rise to it as they go through. No penalty on the car, but he can't take it easy still just yet, because he doesn't want a post-race penalty in the Porsche curves. It's Larry leading this race 7/10 of a second from the so far all-conquering Roux. He has got 5 wins and a second place so far this championship. But he would love to make it 6 wins out of 7 and make that an almost unassailable run. Roux is looking great into the Porsche curves, but it is single file through here. Larry just has to hold on and defend into the Ford chicane, and the final chicane, I think. Through the S's Ducating they go. Larry just has to keep this one together. He's on soft tyres, remember. He's on 0 fuel pretty much left as he brakes hard for the Ford chicane. It looks like Larry's going to have it. He plays with the apex track limits there. Larry comes out of the final corner and wins in Le Mans with a fantastic French livery on the car as well. It took him to a great finish as Roux comes home in second for 5 wins and 2 second places. An almost perfect season from Roux. Maxwell from the reserve bench takes 3rd place over the line. Great run there from Larry, and I hope the whole family enjoyed that one live with us and were cheering on. I'd love to hear, for Larry's sake, when he watches back, the family message here. That was a spectacular finish for Dr. Sparkle. Jim finishes 4th, TX in 5th, and Sparkle across the line in that 6th place. Here he is, look. Let's watch that one again. As he just, I think, just got the power down, a little bit excited. Oh, he was very pedestrian going in. Oh no, it wasn't excitement. It was just a mess. The final turn there. So back to trackside, because Sully's about to cross the line in 7th in the sunset conditions. Huge Jar, I think, probably be a bit disappointed in low fuel mode as well in 8th. Everything went wrong for Huge Jar today, but our Saito comes home in 9th. Guros Kai is battling with P. Wilds to the finish. I think Guros Kai gets the tail out on the Porsche and takes the checkered flag in 10th. P. Wilds home for the Do Crew in 11th. But Larry took the W today ahead of season champion Roux. I really appreciate everybody's likes on the video so far. That has been very well received from my side here. I say Michelin tyre man on the helmet. Pole position and the win for Larry. I don't think the fastest lap, unfortunately for him. Let's check out the result, though. Larry wins by just half a second from Roux with the fastest lap. Roux, of course, confirmed as our champion. Maxwell in 3rd, 16 seconds back in the Ferrari, and then Jim home for the NSX in the 4th position. Good day for the NSX crew for both himself and for TX, coming home 4th and 5th, and Dr. Sparkle spinning on the line there to come home in 6th place, plus a second. He managed to finish ahead of Sully in 7th and Huge Star in 8th, with our Saito and Kuros Kai completing the top 10. P. Wilds, though, brought the car home in 11th, thanks to Mercury for his safety car driving today. That then was our final round of the GT4 World Challenge for Season 3.3. Hopefully, we'll be back with Season 3.4 or Season 4.1. I'm not sure, but stay tuned. Hopefully, you've subscribed to the channel so you'll find out that there's some more racing to come today and in the weeks to come at 8 p.m. UK for a new F1 season with the International Racing League. Thanks from me, Webbo. Thanks from everyone at Deviant Racing. And from us here, we will catch you on the next race day.